Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So we are continuing with our reading of Sri Brahma Samhita, this wonderful scripture, and we have reached verse 37. We're going to read from the ISKCON edition, which includes the translation of the 64 devotional arts mentioned in the purport. So please, Jayadev Ji, please lead us in this verse.
Okay, I'll read of course, the translation from our version. It's very sweet.
Sounds good.
Am I reading the scripts too, huh?
Please.
Ananda Chin. Let's see. All right. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis Tabhirya Eva Nija Rupataya Kalabhi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuta Govinda Madi Purosham Tamaham Vijami. Translation. He eternally resides in his holy abode of Goloka with his transcendental second nature, the own self of his ecstasy potency, replete with the 64 sublime arts, Sri Radha, and her various personal plenary expansions, her lady companions, whose hearts are filled with the supreme rasa, the joy of divine love, that primeval Lord Govinda, the life and soul of his beloved, do I adore. Now, do we want to read this purport and then just do the translation for the 64 devotional arts part?
That sounds good, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm looking at the translation. This one's much nicer than, they're both good, but I like the mutt one. It's more sweet, the translation. So, okay. Purport. The absolute, despite being one, as potency and potent, eternally presides by his ecstasy potency in two separate forms, Radha and Krishna. Inconceivable amorous consorthood is ever present in both that ecstasy, Hladini, and divinity, Krishna. Vibhava, or the cause of the experience of that rasa, or ecstatic principle, is divided into two, alambana, for the basis, and uddipana, for the stimulation. Of the two, alambana is further divided into two, ashraya, for the repository of love, and vishaya, for the object to whom that love is directed. The ashraya is Sri Radhika herself, along with her various personal plenary expansions, and the vishaya is Sri Krishna himself. Krishna is Govinda, the Lord of Goloka. The repository of deep love in that rasa is embodied in the gopis. It is with them that Krishna enjoys his eternal pastimes in Goloka. The expression Nija Rupataya indicates, along with all the plenary expansions, charms, or arts manifest by the current of the ecstasy potency. Those arts are 64 in number. Here we go. My goodness, it's gonna be a long one. Well, where are we here? 1. Gita, the art of singing. 2. Vadya, the art of playing on musical instruments.
Wait, hang on, Prabhu. In our edition, the first one is nritya.
It says nritya,
dancing.
right?
Yeah,
Dancing.
it's not in
Yeah,
that.
I noticed that.
Oh, that's
I think that I wonder if one of these is based on how they're organized in one of the there's that Goswami, I can't remember, one of the books. So they might have, we can do it that way. I know what nritya means, but yeah, we could try. Do you want to do it in the order that they do it in here? I think I could read.
Yeah, maybe just to avoid confusion.
That makes sense. Okay. Nrityam which is dancing. Geetam, which is singing. Vadyam is playing on instruments. Let's see, what do we got here? Natyam, that has something to do with, where is that? Art of theatricals. Alekyam, art of painting. It looks like it might start to stop me if now I'm going to read from the one because I think now it's on track again. If it goes off, let me know and I'll come back to the
Okay.
Alekya, the art of painting. Virshesha Kachedya, the art of painting the face and body with colored ungulants and cosmetics. Tandula Kusuma Vani Vikaraha, the art of preparing offerings from rice and flowers. Let's see here. Pushpastaranya, the art of making a covering of flowers for a bed. Dashana Vasananga Raga, art of applying preparation for cleansing the teeth, cloths, and painting the body. Mani Bhumika Karma, the art of making the groundwork of jewels. Shaya Rachana, the art of covering the bed. Udakavadya, the art of playing music in water. That sounds sketchy. Udakaghata, art of splashing with water. Chitra Yoga, art of practically applying an admixture of colors. Malya Gratana Vikalpa, the art of designing a preparation of wreaths. Shikarapida Yojana, the art of practically setting the coronet on the head. Nepatya Yoga, art of practically dressing the tiring room, in the tiring room. Not sure what that is. Karnapatra Bhanga, the art of decorating the tragus or tragus of the ear. Sugandha Yukti, art of practical application of aromatics. Bhushana Yojana, the art of applying or setting ornaments. Aindra Jala, the art of jugglery. Kauchumara just says a kind of art. Maybe we don't want to know. Hasta Laghava, the art of sleight of hand. Chitra Shakapupa Bhakshya Vikara Kriya, the art of preparing varieties of salad, bread, cake, and delicious food. Panaka Rasa Raga Sava Yojana, the art of practically preparing palatable drinks and tinging draughts with red color. Shuchi Vaya Karma, the art of needleworks and weaving. Sutra Krida, the art of playing with thread. Veena Damuraka Vadya, the art of playing on a lute and small X-shaped drum. Prahelika, the art of making and solving riddles. Pratimala, the art of caping or reciting verse for verse as a trial for memory or skill. Durvachaka Yoga, the art of practicing language difficult to be answered by others. Pustakavachana, the art of reciting books. Natika Kya Yika Darshana, the art of enacting short plays and anecdotes. Kavya Samasya Purana, the art of solving enigmatic verses. Paktaka Vetrabana Vikalpa, the art of designing preparation of shield, cane, and arrows. Tarku Karma, the art of spinning by spindle. Prakshana, the art of carpentry. Vastu Vidya, the art of engineering. Raupya Ratna Pariksha, the art of testing silver and jewels. Dhatuvada, the art of metallurgy. Maniraga Jnana, the art of tinging jewels. Akara Jnana, the art of mineralogy. Brakshayur Veda Yoga, the art of practicing medicine or medical treatment by herbs. Mesha Kukuta Lavaka Yuddha Vidhi, the art of knowing the mode of fighting of lambs, cocks, and birds. Shuka Sharaka Prapalana. Or Pralapana, wait, which one is it? They don't know for sure. Anyways, art of maintaining or knowing conversation between male and female cockatoos. Utsadana, art of healing or cleaning a person with perfumes. Kesha Marjana Kaushala, the art of combing hair. Akshara Mushtaka Kathana, the art of talking with letters and fingers. Mlechita Uttarka Vikalpa, the art of fabricating barbarous or foreign sophistry. Mlecha. Desha Bhasha Jnana, the art of knowing provincial dialect.
Say that last one again.
Mlechita, which would be the mlechas, right? Mlechita Kutarka Vikalpa, the art of fabricating barbarous or foreign sophistry, acting like a barbarian, basically.
Oh, so like for fun, like imitate.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Man, the spiritual world has got to be an absolute party. I mean, these are amazing. Can you imagine all of this going on? Whoa.
Wow, so like imitating and making fun of.
And the conversation between birds and learning how to act and fighting like birds and all this is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. You know, we think we have fun down here. I mean, this is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Desha Bhasha Jnana, the art of knowing provincial dialects. Pushpa Shakatika Nirmiti Jnana, the art of knowing prediction by heavenly voice or knowing preparation of toy carts by flowers. Yantra Matraka, art of mechanics. Dharana Matraka, art of the use of amulets. Samvacha, the art of conversation. Manasi Kavya Kriya, the art of composing verse mentally. Kriya Vikalpa, the art of designing a literary work or medical remedy. Chalitaka Yoga, the art of practicing as a builder of shrines called after him. Abhidana Kosha Chando Jnana, the art of the use of lexicography and meters. Vastra Gopana, the art of concealment of cloths. Dyuta Vishesha, the art of knowing specific gambling. Akarsha Kreda, the art of playing with dice or magnet. Balaka Kredanaka, the art of using children's toys. Vainayaki Vidya, the art of enforcing discipline. Vaijayiki Vidya, the art of gaining victory. Vaitalaki Vidya, the art of awakening master with music at dawn. Back to the purport. My goodness. All these teachings are divinely personified and eternally manifest as ingredients of rasa in Goloka, and in the world by the divine potency Yoga Maya. They have been auspiciously manifest in the pastimes of Vraja. For this reason, Sri Rupa has stated, Sudanantahi prakashaihi svair lilabhish cha sa divyati tatraikena prakashena kadachid jagad antare sahiva svaparivarair janmadi kurute harihi Krishna bhavanusarena lilakha shaktir eva sa tesham parikaranang cha tam tam bhavam vibhavayet prapancha gocharatvena sa lila prakata smrta anyastva prakata bhanti tadreshyastad agocharaha tatra prakata lilayam eva syatham gamagamau gokule maturayang cha dvarakayang cha sharanginah yastatra tatra prakatas tatra tatraiva shantitaha. This means that in Goloka, Krishna is ever beautifully resplendent with his infinite pastimes. Sometimes there are variations in the manifestation of those pastimes in the mundane world. The Supreme Lord Sri Hari reveals the pastimes of his advent, etc., in his family. According to his sweet will, the Leela potency also infuses the hearts of his personal associates with the devotional dispositions appropriate to their service. All the pastimes that are visible to the world are manifest pastimes, while those pastimes that are invisible to the world are unmanifest, by remaining in Goloka. In his manifest pastime, Krishna frequents Gokula, Mathura, and Dwaraka. All the pastimes that are not manifest in those three places remain manifest in the divine abode, the original location, Vrindavan. All of these conclusions inform us that intrinsically there is no distinction between the manifest and unmanifest pastimes. In his commentary of the shloka, and in his commentary of Ujjvala Nilamani, and in Krishna Sandarbha, and other exalted works, our most revered Acharya, Sri Jiva Goswami, has stated that Krishna's manifest pastimes are conducted by Yoga Maya. Because those pastimes are associated with material nature, some Mayic or worldly traits are apparent in them, which can in no way be present in the intrinsic transcendental pastimes. For example, the slaying of demons, paramour relationships, birth, and so on. The gopis are of Sri Krishna's personal potency, so they are his own without exception. How can they be considered to be the wives of others? So the paramour affairs of the pastimes manifest on earth, in which they are considered to be others' wives, are only a mundane inflection of the transcendental reality. I love that. When we can have some insight into the deep purport of the line of thought in these explanations of Sri Jiva Goswami Pada, no room for any doubt about the truth can remain in our hearts. Sri Jiva Goswami Pada is a Tattvacharya, divine guide in transcendental truth. His representation is always strictly in conformity with the line of Sri Rupa Sanatana. Besides, in his internal divine identity, he is a particular Manjari, so all the transcendental truths are fully known to him. Without understanding the gist of his line of thought, some persons have speculated and concocted in their own interpretation of his words, ushering a tirade of fruitless controversy. According to Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana, unmanifest and manifest pastimes are identical, with the only exception that the former is revealed beyond the material world while the latter is revealed within it. In the revelation beyond this world, there is absolute purity in regard to seer and the seen. When by great fortune one receives the grace of Krishna and is thus able to completely sever his relationship with the mundane and enter into the transcendental world, and further, if he attains to the perfection of tasting the variegatedness of spiritual rasa during his practicing spiritual life, such a person will be able to see and taste the complete divine pastimes of Goloka. Such a blessed recipient is rare. and one who, despite being present in the material world, has through his perfection and devotion gained the grace of Krishna and thus attained to experience of the spiritual rasa, will be able to see those Goloka pastimes and the Gokula pastimes manifest in the earthly plane. There is definite comparative distinction between these two classes of devotees. Until the attainment of Vastu Siddhi, the ability to have darshan of Goloka pastimes is always deterred by some mundane obstruction. Again, it must be admitted that there are different gradations of the darshana of Goloka in proportion to one's comparative progress in Swarup Siddhi, which determines one's stage of Swarup Darshana, or vision of the reality. Those who are very tightly bound by the chains of illusion have no eyes of devotion. Of such persons, some see everything through the variegatedness of the illusory world, and others, taking shelter of non-theistic knowledge, are aspirants of suicidal ultimate disillusion. Even if they are able to see the manifest pastimes of the Lord, nothing more than mundane connotations, devoid of any relationship with the unmanifest pastimes, appear in their minds. So in this way, the darshana of Goloka is attainable according to one's eligibility. Well, the fine point here is that as Goloka is pure truth, Gokula is similarly pure and completely devoid of impurity. However, by the divine chit potency of Yoga Maya, Gokula is manifest in the mundane world. In either the manifest or unmanifest affairs of that plane, there is not the slightest trace of contamination, unwholesomeness, or imperfection as found in the limited world. Only according to the varying eligibility of the jivas, viewing them, do they appear with certain variations. Contamination, unwholesomeness, superfluity, misunderstanding, ignorance, impurity, falsity, lowliness, and grossness. All these are present in the mundane vision of the viewing jiva's eyes, intellect, mind, and ego. They are not inherent in the observable object. The more one is free from these particular stigmas, the more he will be capable of having the vision of transcendental truth. A truth that is revealed in the Shastra or Holy Scriptures is completely devoid of contamination. The purity or impurity of the realizations of the different viewers are dependent on their individual qualifications. All of the above mentioned 64 arts exist in Goloka in their original pure form, devoid of any trace of mundanity. The qualification of purity of the deliberator on these matters will determine whether he sees any connotation of unwholesomeness, lowliness, or grossness in them. According to Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana, whatever types of pastimes are manifest in Gokula, all are in Goloka, intrinsically and devoid of any scent of mundanity. So by that consideration, Parakiya Bhava, or the mode of paramour relationship, must certainly also be in Goloka, in a kind of inconceivably pure posing. Everything that is manifest by Yoga Maya is pure. When paramourship is arranged by Yoga Maya, its roots in pure absolute reality are indicated. Let us consider the constitution of that pure absolute reality. Purvokta dhiro dattari chatur bhedasya tasyatu pratischopapatischiti prabhedav iha vishrutau tatra pati sakanyayah yah panigrahako bhavet rageno lughayan dharmam parakiya balartina tadya prema sarvasvam buddhair upapati smritah laghutvam atra yat proktam tattu prakrita nayake na krishna rasanir svadharatam avatarani tatra nayika bheda vichara nasau natye rase mukhye yat parodha nigadhyate tat tu syat prakritya kshudra nayakadyanusarataha. Sri Jiva has deeply considered all these shlokas and substantiated that as the pastimes of birth, etc., are pastimes of divine delusion, Vibhrama Vilasa, attributed to Yoga Maya. The same is applicable in the case of the paramour conception, Tatapi Patihi Pura Vanitanam Dvitiyo Vraja Vanitanam. By this statement, he has revealed his deep purport. In the conclusions established by Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana, the pastimes of divine delusion arranged by Yoga Maya have also been admitted. Yet when Sri Jiva Goswami has determined Goloka and Gokula to be identical, it cannot but be admitted that the basis of the Gokula pastimes is the fundamental transcendental reality. One who accepts the hand of a maiden according to the injunction of marriage is a husband, while one who, thinking his love to be all in all, crosses the injunctions of religious duty in order to gain another wife is paramour. In Goloka, there is no religious obligation binding anyone to the injunction of marriage, so no husbandhood of that order is to be found there either. On the other hand, since there can be no marriage of others for the gopis, who are in that way constitutionally Krishna's own, there is no question of them becoming lady paramours. There, the concepts of wedded and paramour, swakiya, parakiya, cannot exist independently of one another. In Krishna's pastimes manifest in the material world, the binding religious code of marriage is present. Krishna is transcendental to that religious duty. So the circle of divine amorous affairs is thus an arrangement of Yoga Maya. Crossing that religious obligation, Krishna enjoyed the taste of paramourship. These pastimes of overstepping morality, quote unquote, manifest by Yoga Maya, are seen in the world by eyes enveloped in mundanity. In actuality, there is no trace of such pettiness or superficiality in the pastimes of Krishna at all. Parakya rasa is the essence of all rasas. To deny its excellence in Goloka would be tantamount to sacrilege. The super excellent, transcendental.
Sorry, Dave, just a tiny slip of the tongue. You said excellence.
Oh,
is existence there?
Oh my goodness. Let's see, where is that? Parakya rasa, the essence of all rasas. Okay. To deny its excellent existence in Goloka, its existence in Goloka would be tantamount to sacrilege. The super excellent, transcendental, ecstatic experience cannot be absent in the super excellent Goloka. Krishna, the origin of all avatars, tastes that in a certain way in Goloka, and he tastes that in a certain way in Gokula. So despite the immoral connotation seen in paramourship by the mundane eye, paramourship nonetheless has its peculiar wholesome existence in Goloka also. From the scriptural statements, Atmaramo, Pyari Ramat, Atmanyavarudha Saurataha, Reme Vraja Sundaridhir, Yatar Bhakaha, Svapratibimba Vibhramaha, etc. It is evident that self-satisfaction is Krishna's personal nature. In the majestic area of the transcendental world, he manifests his personal potency as Lakshmi and consorts, with her in the mood of wedlock. Since this mood of ownership in wedlock, Svakiya Buddhi, predominates there, the scope of rasa naturally and charmingly goes up to servitude, or dasya rasa. But in Goloka, Krishna expands his personal potency into millions of gopis, and he consorts with them, forgetting all ownership. The extreme rarity of the paramour relationship is absent in the sentiment of marriage. So naturally, the gopis, since time immemorial, are endowed with the innate sentiment of being, quote, others' wives, or female paramours. And Krishna himself also reciprocates by accepting the sentiment of paramourship, and with the help of his beloved companion, the flute, enjoys lila or pastimes such as the rasa dance. Goloka is eternally perfect, the seat of transcendental ecstasy or rasa, transcendental to any mundane inflection. So in that realm, the divine current of the sentiment of paramourship flows in its perfection. Further, the way of majesty, Aishvarya, is such that the parental sentiment, Vatsalya rasa, directed to the origin of all incarnations, is also absent in Vaikuntha. Yet in the paramount plane of divine consorthood, the Parama Madhurya Maya, Goloka, there is only the original mood of that sentiment. There, Nanda and Yashoda are personally present, but there is no direct occurrence of Krishna's birth. Without the function of giving birth to a son, the egos of fatherhood and motherhood of Nanda and Yashoda are their heart's sentiments only. Jayati Jananivaso Devaki Janmavadaha. For the perfection of the rasa, that sentiment is eternal. Similarly, in Sringara rasa also, since only the sentiment of male and female paramourship is eternal, absolutely no stigma or any type of scriptural violation can be present there. When the Goloka principle is manifest in Vraja, the only difference is that these two sentiments appear to possess some grossness in the mundane vision. The parental sentiment of Nanda and Yashoda appears in a more, quote, earthly way, in the form of the pastimes of Krishna's birth, etc. The consorthood sentiment of the gopis as, quote, others' wives appears in a more, quote, earthly way, in the form of their marriages to Abhimanyu and Govardhana, etc. In reality, in neither Goloka nor Gokula is there any separate existence of lordship or husbandhood over the gopis. Therefore, the scriptures have said, Najatu Vraja Devi Nam Pratibhi Saha Sangamaha. There is never sexual union of the gopis with their husbands. So the Rasatatvacharya, the divine guide in the science of transcendental rasa, Sri Rupa, has written that the hero of Ujjvala rasa, consorthood, is of two types. Patish, Chopa Patish, Cheti, Prabhedav Iha Vishritao Iti, the husband and the paramour. In his commentary, Sri Jiva has admitted the husbandhood of Krishna in Dwaraka and Vaikuntha, etc., and the eternal paramourship of Krishna in Goloka and Gokula. In the statement, Pati Pura Vanitanam Dvitiyo Vraja Vanitanam. In the Lord of Goloka, Golokanatha, and the Lord of Gokula, Gokulanatha, the expression of paramourship is found in its complete, holy cow, this thing keeps going. My goodness. Complete form. Krishna is overstepping, langhana of his own nature, dharma, of self-satisfaction, atma-ramatva, is the only cause of his apparently overstepping religious duty, dharma langhana. Through his passion for paramourship, that paramourship is the root cause of the gopis' corresponding eternal sentiment of their being wives of others. Although in reality there are no husbands of separate interest for the gopis at all, their sentiment causes them to have the nature of others' wives. Thus, ragano langhayam ghayan dharmam, love above law. And all such symptoms are eternally present in the divine plane of love. In Vraja, a general outline of this can be appreciated to some degree by the worldly eye. Thus in Goloka, the rasas of wedlock and paramourship are inconceivably one and distinct. Neither their distinction nor their similarity can be admitted. The essence of paramourship's sentiment denies ownership, and the essence of ownership denies paramourship in the Lord's consorthood with his personal divine potency. Yet, the denial of paramourship sentiment in his consorthood with his personal divine potency means consorthood beyond the religious injunction of marriage. Accommodating the variegatedness of both concepts, their consummation in the ultimate singular rasa or divine ecstatic relationship is ever gloriously refulgent there in Goloka. Indeed, the same is true for Gokula. Some other inference is fostered by the mundane observers only. In Govinda, the hero of the pastimes of Goloka, husbandhood and paramourship beyond both religiosity or irreligiosity preside in their pristine glory. And although the same is true for the hero of Gokula, a varied connotation appears by the agency of Yogamaya. If it is suggested that whatever Yogamaya manifests is divine truth created by divine potency, so even the idea of adultery is to be taken as an actual reality, it must be replied that in the experience of spiritual rasa, the idea of such a sentiment can exist, and that too without any flaw, since it is not without foundation. It is based on the presence of a correspondingly perfect sentiment in its origin of fundamental truth. But the ugly connotation of the mundane is a contaminated conception that can never stand in the plane of pure existence. Actually, Sri Jiva Goswami has presented the correct conclusion, while the opposing conclusion also carries the truth in an inconceivable way. To engage in fruitless empirical wrangling for the case of wedlock or paramourship is a baseless endeavor of no such verbiage. One who, with an unprejudiced view, thoroughly examines the commentaries of Sri Jiva Goswami and all the opposing commentaries cannot but come to the end of all arguments born of doubts. Whatever is spoken by the pure Vaishnava is truth, utterly free from any form of prejudice. Yet there is the element of mystery in their controversies. Those whose intellects are possessed by illusion and mundanity in their paucity of pure Vaishnava qualification are unable to grasp the significance of the mysterious, affectionate controversies among the pure Vaishnavas, and thus they ascribe to them the defect of wrangling and party spirit. Gopinam tat patinam cha. The conclusion given by Sri Sanatana Goswami in his commentary Vaishnava Toshani on this shloka from the 5 chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam dealing with the Rasa Lila has been unhesitatingly embraced with the utmost reverence by the pure devotee Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. When we attempt to deliberate on matters of transcendental pastimes of places such as Goloka, we would be best advised to bear in mind a point that has been graciously taught by Sriman Mahaprabhu and the Goswami. The reality of supreme absolute truth is always variegated with divine attributes. That is, it was always transcendental to mundane attributes and never unvariegated or non-differentiative. The beauty of rasa in relationship with the Supreme Lord is manifest by its variegatedness with 4 basic attributes known as vibhava, subject and object, anubhava, illuminating symptoms, sattaka, particular emotional symptoms, and vyabhichari, particularly secondary transitory symptoms. Such rasa, full of variegatedness, is ever present in Goloka and Vaikuntha. By the power of Yogamaya, the rasa of Goloka is manifest in this world for the benefit of the devotees, appearing as the rasa of Vraja. Whatever is seen in that Gokula rasa must also appear graphically in Goloka rasa. So different varieties in the nature of the male and female paramour variegatedness in rasa of those identities, the soil, water, rivers, mountains, gateways, groves, and cows, etc. All these ingredients of Gokula are correspondingly and intrinsically present in Goloka. Only the mundane connotation ascribed to this realm by persons of mundane conception is absent. According to the eligibility of the devotee, there are distinctly varied revelations in the variegated pastimes of Vraja. To form a single criterion to determine which portions of these revelations may be illusory and which may be pure, is difficult. The more the eyes of devotion are anointed or adorned with the salve of love, the more the pure will gradually reveal itself. So there is no necessity of argument. Argument does not enhance anyone's eligibility. The depth of the plane of Goloka is of inconceivable subtleness. To try to conceive the inconceivable, like the futile pounding of an empty grain husk, can only come to naught. Therefore, one must desist from the attempt of knowledge and attain realization by the devotional pursuit. Any pursuit that ultimately leads one to a non-differentiative impression must be shunned in all respects. The pure rasa of paramourship, free from all mundane conception, is extremely rarely attained. It is described in the pastimes of Gokula, and it must be embraced and served by the devotees following the line of divine love, the Raganuga Bhaktas, and upon perfection they will attain to the higher fundamental truth of reality the beautiful. That devotional service which aims at paramourship, but is performed by persons of mundane attitude, is repeatedly condemned as illicit, perverse, anti-religion. Pained at seeing such hypocrisy rampant, our Tattvacharya, Sri Jiva, was most eager to deliver his exposition. To embrace the essence of his delivery is in itself the quality of pure Vaishnavism. It is an offense, uparadha, to disrespect the Acharya by attempting to establish an opposing doctrine.
Jai, we did it.
Dang, was that as long as it felt? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the longest purport in the book. Yeah. And
I didn't notice when I was reading it silently, but reading it out loud, I'm like, holy cow. It is really helpful for me though, the way it breaks down the pure, the Parakiya rasa, like it exists in a way we can't conceive of. It has its own elemental presence that's the root of everything. Like it's the core rasa of everything. And it looks like an affair through our mundane vision, but it's actually it's even the root of even marriage and everything. It's deeper than all of that. And it helped me because a lot of stuff confuses me because of my mundane vision. And so it helps these kind of breakdowns. I mean, they're very helpful because I'm still very much identified with the male body. So I have so much filtration for all this stuff. And this really helps a lot. I remember reading this before and having that.
It was really wonderful to hear your reflections, Jayadev. And we all were happy to hear you read. You're a wonderful reader. I mean, you're someone who could make some audiobooks. So we're happy.
You know, I listened to Sripad Madhusudana, or Srila Madhusudana Maharaj reading this so many times while I sleep. So I think it's in there too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just wonderful, you know, just adding on to what you said, you know, it's wonderful how, you know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is really emphasizing the dignity, you know, of this Leela, you know, and as you pointed out, you know, it's so easy to view this Leela through the filters of mundane experience and our mundane knowledge and filters and so on. So, you know, it's just the scientific, systematic, and dignified way in which Bhaktivinoda Thakur is presenting, explaining this is so helpful and purifying, actually. One thing I wanted to mention, just because we have some persons who are joining lately who weren't joining in the beginning, in the earlier meetings for this book. Some points were explained in earlier meetings, which some of you missed, that you know, that there's this distinction being made between Goloka and Gokul. You know, this is like the fundamental point, one of the fundamental points being discussed here, right? That there's the existence of the, you know, Vrindavan, both within the earthly plane as well as in the eternal spiritual plane, you know, and, you know, inconceivably that eternal spiritual plane appears as it is expressed very nicely in one of the earlier purports in one quadrant of the Mayic realm, right? So inconceivable to our knowledge and understanding that divine plane is manifest also within this earthly plane. And this is sometimes this word, the bomya lila, this phrase is used. Bomya is referring to the earthly expression of these. And so some of the differences between the two are being described here, right? For example, that in so Gokul is referring to the appearance of Vrindavan in this earthly plane, Goloka within the transcendental plane. And so some of the differences between the two are being pointed out. For example, this point of the paramourship, right? The element of secret, illicit love, right? Between Krishna and the gopis, that in the manifestation in Goloka, the transcendental plane, the gopis don't actually have husbands, but they're imbued with that sentiment, by Yoga Maya, who's the divine stage manager, right? They're imbued with that sentiment that they have husbands and that there's a secretive, relationship going on, because that's enhancing the Leela, right? And that's being described in a very scientific way here. And I like how it's mentioned that, why does Krishna do this? Because it has been established that his nature is of self-satisfaction. In other words, he does what makes him happy. That's his fundamental nature. So he's exploring the world of love and play and relationships, and so this is the the paramour relationship, the relationship, the another, right? The element of there being another and crossing over the strictures of morality, that enhances his self-satisfaction. So that's why does he do it? Because he wants to. Because it makes him happy. Right? It's all a drama, right? Being staged to enhance that. But then in the Bomya Leela and the earthly manifestation Gokula, the gopis actually do have husbands. So there's more of an earthly appearance to this, what's going on. But as it is mentioned, there's actually no sexual relationship, between the gopis and their husbands, and there isn't actually any question of them, having other relationships, and ultimately, right, Krishna is the supreme master of all, and so there's no question of there being something illicit going on, but it's all being fashioned, right, to enhance the divine feeling and emotion. I liked there were a few phrases that kind of jumped out here. Let's see. Does anyone else have any this I like very much. The more, and this is something that will be discussed actually the very next verse, it's stated very beautifully. The more the eyes of devotion are anointed or adorned with the salve of love, the more the pure will gradually reveal itself. So we see that we can see, perceive, and realize the value of and the purity of that flame, not by our empiric analysis, but through faith, through love, through devotion. Krishna's only interested in revealing himself to those who love him, right? So that's the fundamental criteria to know and appreciate that higher plane. So that line is very nice. So there's no necessity of argument. Argument does not enhance anyone's eligibility. The depth of the plane of Goloka is of inconceivable subtleness. Therefore, one must desist from the attempt of knowledge and attain realization by the devotional pursuits. Wonderful. Wonderful. Does anyone, and welcome those of you who came in a bit later. Krishna Keshava joined, Anu Krishna, Devi Dasi, Scarlett came in, Doyal Nitai, Bhakta Jim. Great to see all of you here. Nice turnout. And Echo also. Great to see you, Echo. Does anyone want to add any other thoughts, anything that came to mind or question?
Seems like I'm always harping on this one, but I like how music is one of the first on the list. Like it's so essential, and that's what brought me to Krishna consciousness, and even God's playing a flute. I also noticed that flute playing is not on that list because he's the one that plays the flute. Like we don't play we might play Veena for him or something, but he plays the flute.
Nice, nice. Yeah, actually it's something that always, to be honest, that bothers me when I see you know, sometimes devotees get inspired to, it's a very kind of simple feeling, which I can appreciate on one level, right? Oh, Krishna likes the flute, so I'll also play the flute, right? I can appreciate it like in the way you appreciate a child, right? Being inspired to do something. But then a finer feeling is, oh, we'll reserve that for Krishna, and I like one comment that Goswami Maharaj made, and it was at, I believe it was at the 13th Street Temple, first temple in San Jose, and one of the members was getting into playing the flute in the temple, and Goswami Maharaj said, "There's only one flute player in this temple." I appreciate that. We'll stick to the cartels, and we'll let Krishna do the flute playing.
We need to be the flute.
Mm. In Chaitanya, that reminds me, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's some very beautiful expressions of the gopis where they're expressing this kind of transcendental envy for the flute, right? Because like, what did they do and how fortunate are their parents? And because they always get to taste the nectar of Krishna's, that wood, right? That flute is always getting to taste the nectar of Krishna's lips, like they just get it so easily, and so difficult for us, And then
But fortunately, he does like to hear our voice, He likes to hear he wants our voice. He wants us to sing, so that's nice.
Yes, yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No. But then they're taking it so far, and they get into like contemplating the parents of the flu, the relatives of the flu, and what did they do? What fortune they have to have a child. Their extreme love for Krishna. Oh, Shintamini is making a comment about cartels. Actually, the problem is that cartels need to be played like an art, right? Not just like clanging, but there's an art to it, right? It's the issue is not with the cartels, but how they're, and also how many are being played. I've been to some temples where there's this idea that everybody needs to play. They'll just walk around handing out cartels. Even new people are coming for the first time. It's not that usually one or two is more than enough, and play gently, And Srila
very powerful weapon, very, very powerful weapon should be in trained hands.
Right. Nice to see Radhana Rupini's comments. And yes, like we hope, right? That's the feeling that we'll get as we're going through these divine literatures, that, oh, how far away we are, right? How high this thing is, that's the feeling that we want to have in our hearts. This earlier today, I was remembering this expression of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that humility is the outcome of proximity to greatness, right? So we can like apply that idea, that conception in this practical way, like by exposing ourselves to things of this high order, right? Then we'll feel our position in a happy way, right? And there's also joy in that, right? When we're contacting something so beautiful that's so beyond ourselves, it's not a shameful thing. It's actually a very wonderful thing. I love this English writer, E.M. Forster, and I was looking through some of his quotes the other day, and there's one which I like, it's just on this theme. He was saying how art makes us feel small in the right way, right? And only human beings make us feel small in the wrong way, right? So in the same way, like when we're exposed to divinity, You know, it gives us this healthy, happy feeling of smallness. It's a happy, you realize that it's actually wonderful. It's not that, oh, we're feeling so down on ourselves, but, you know, wow, I'm like swimming in something so wonderful. I'm drowning in something so much greater than myself. You know, it's a wonderful thing. So yes, it's so healthy and so necessary for us to expose ourselves to things like this, you know, like this holy scripture, and remind ourselves that where am I actually? It's like Google Earth, right? Like you're zooming out and getting a picture of like where you actually are in relation to the whole, you know, because it's so easy to get lost in your own little world and like magnify your own tiny, insignificant position to ridiculous proportions, right? But it's like, let's all like check in with Google Earth. You know, let's get a healthy reminder, you know, get some perspective, right? So exposing ourselves to these holy literatures, it's like that, like we're getting some picture, some reminder, some perspective. What is our actual position? What's actually important? What's actually relevant? You know, beyond, you know, the relative issues of our daily life, the temporary relative issues of our daily lives. So what can we say? You know, Jai, 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 Jai. And everyone's wishing Jayadev a happy birthday. I didn't know it was your birthday. It's cool. We had you lead the reading today for almost the full hour.
Yeah. Giving me some service for my birthday. What more could I ask for?
It feels like
Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna to you, Hare Krishna, dear Jayadeva. Hare Krishna to you. All the best.
all the best, Jayadev. We love you.
Thank you. I just got that one from Jagadananda too. He sent me that. Hare Krishna.
Oh yeah.
Remember last year, actually, we went out. You were here, I think, because they were
I
here,
think
Hari
it was.
Vallabha.
Yeah.
And we went to this party with these like psytrance kids and did this crazy. The kirtan was through the roof. They loved it. They loved Jagadananda. And it was so awesome. Jagadananda still sends me. He just sent me a link to it. He was so. That moment made him so happy. I don't know why. Maybe because it reminds him of the Rainbow Gatherings back in 2000 or something. But he was just so stoked on that.
I actually just came across the other day on his Facebook page. He shared a memory from last year from that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I watched this. Well, we're all so happy to have your friendship on the path, Jayadev. You're a wonderful brother in Krishna consciousness. And we all humbly wish you all the best for your onward progress in this line. All right. Well, should we end there for today? Any last comments from anyone? Oh, Radhana Rupini is raising her hand.
So when I think about this earthly plane and the arts and crafts and, you know, things that, because art is the perfection of a certain way of expressing yourself, whether and you choose the medium, whether it's music, fabric, paint, you know, the perfection of that is art, you know. So so everything we read was in the spiritual world. So, but what we have here is perverted reflections of it, I'm guessing. The art that we have, like the culture and arts, you know, that go on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Which is becoming less and less and less, which is very sad.
Mm. You know, there's a section in our book, Religion of the Heart. It's made from some of the talks of our Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj, and he speaks about this a little bit, you know, and how like all the music in this world, like the beautiful music and vibration that we find in this world, it's all like a shadow of the original, he speaks about the flute song of Krishna, right? How that's the original, like, beautiful sound vibration, beautiful music. And we're coming across reflections and shadows of that in this world. So yes, I would say, I'm also reminded of that Bhagavad Gita verse, the end of chapter 10, I believe, that yad vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitam evava tatta devava gacha tvam mamite jam sambhavam, where Krishna is saying, that verse, and whatever you find in this world that is beautiful, that is wonderful, that is astonishing, it is all coming from but a spark of my splendor, right? That verse. So yes, we come across touches of that beauty. We understand that Krishna is the source, but this is coming in a we're getting some touch, some hint, some shadow of that. But yes, the source is Krishna, and there that beauty has its full, complete expression, right? In the highest and to the highest and purest degree. So yes, music is so powerful, right? And when you feel how it can move you on a deep level, we can try to connect that with Krishna and think, oh, we're feeling the power of this earthly sound, Then how powerful is that original divine spiritual sound? How beautiful, how moving, how touching. Music can move us far deeper than words, right? It goes beyond language, thought process, brain, right? It moves us on a very deep level. And this is just the mundane reflection, right? So then what to speak of that original divine sound? I don't know if that's, helpful. I'm just kind of adding on some further thoughts to what you said,
I was going to chime in just real quick.
Dr. Jim, good to see you.
Happy appearance day, Jayadev, brother. It's interesting. My wife and I are watching a series on the Gaia channel called Sacred Geometry. And what's really nice is the gentleman who hosts the program is Dr. Robert J. Gilbert, who actually worked in the Marine Corps training people on biological warfare. And in his work, he came across all these ancient texts of knowledge and esoteric spiritual traditions of the world. And it's beautiful is he always references this is all coming from the mind of God. So although he's not saying Krishna, he's a deeply spiritual man who is first and foremost acknowledging that all this is coming from a divine origin. And then they go through all this incredible stuff from the Egyptians and the hieroglyphics and the solid cubes, the geometric forms that form the basis of the material creation, and how this man from, I think, Israel, Egypt, has discovered a vibration that harmonizes everything. That instead of all the diversity, there is a vibration that harmonizes at the center of all living beings, at the center of all material forms is a vibrational point. It's like a singularity that's coming from the mind of God. And I just keep thinking, this is the Maha Mantra. The Maha Mantra is the harmonizing principle in this age of Kali. And I want everyone to hurry up and accelerate and jump to this conclusion, but I realize that everybody is on their own arc of evolution and that they have to work through these levels before they can come to the personal conception of the Lord. But at least it's refreshing that his orientation is correct, that this whole program is the premise is that everything is coming from the mind of God. And however science and metaphysics are explaining all these things, it's relishable and delightful because his orientation is, hey, it's coming from God. So it's really a far out series. It's called Sacred Geometry, and they're finding ways to neutralize the negative effects of EMFs that are coming from cell phone towers and all this technology. So I'm learning to just appreciate anything that's bringing people along the way towards realization of the personal conception of the Lord, and that there are materially positive and uplifting side effects of their work, that they're actually intending to uplift the human condition through their technology and their research, and that everyone's contributing in some way. And of course, we know everyone is serving Krishna in some way. So I just wanted to share that because I think it was really stimulating.
Very nice, Bhakta Jim. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else, any last words? Should we close there?
Prabhu ki.
There's Ananda Krishna and Kanupriya. They're sending their happy birthdays. Jai Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Shri Bhakti ki Jai. Sri Brahma Samhita ki Jai. All devotees, sincere seekers ki Jai. Shri ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Bol.
Haribo.
See you all next time. Beautiful week ahead.
Thank you, Dandavad. Thank you for the association.
Thank you all. Thank you all.